Welcome to Black History Makers, where we share the stories of modern-day legal pioneers whose life's work will undoubtedly forever change the course of history. So, hey. Khalilah, hey.
What's up, Nolan? It's been a long time. It's been 25 years.
Yes, 25 years.
At least.
So first of all, thanks for inviting me to your office.
Of course. Welcome to Cleveland Municipal Court. Glad you made it down to the Justice Center so you can see my office and see what I do.
Yes.
Glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here. So it's been a while, obviously.
It's been a long time. Been since 8th grade.
Yeah. So you'll have to catch me up a little bit. Like what have you been up to these past 25 years?
You know, we're currently serving the litigants of the city of Cleveland. Married, I have 2 daughters, Brooklyn and Britton, 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. Been practicing law for about, what are we now, 12 years or so. But senior magistrate here in Cleveland Municipal Court, doing great. Like I said, serving a lot of litigants, mostly pro se individuals, and just trying to make the city a better place and offering whatever service we can to people to help them out.
Khalilah, it seems like you're doing your part. I'm proud to call you a friend.
Yes, same.
I'm sad it's been so long, but you won't get rid of me now that I know where to find you.
I know, we're in the network now.
Yeah.
We're connected, and we got to make sure you get your Instagram and stuff together.
There you go, absolutely. So, as part of our Black History Maker series, we like to ask folks just to kind of bring us back to, what initially inspired you to enter the legal field? What motivated you along your journey?
Like, yeah, I'm gonna be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I always love to tell this story about what inspired me. Growing up as a little girl, my father read a ton of books. I would say if he would have went to college, he would have had a PhD in African American studies, but just always, reared me, my brother, in education. Solid foundation with both my parents. And two particular movies growing up. One being A Time to Kill, and I'm probably dating myself a little bit with this, but I absolutely love the movie A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. And Samuel L. Jackson was on trial for killing 2 men who raped and attempted to murder his young daughter, and Matthew McConaughey represented him. And so seeing that movie, I was just like, it pulled on my heartstrings, even at the tender age of 8. And it's like, oh my gosh, there are people that are wrongfully convicted, or maybe the reason we think they committed a crime is not really the reason. Like, I have to fight for these people. I wanted to be a civil rights attorney. And in that movie, there was this chant that the people formed outside the courtroom. They were like, "Free Carl Lee, free Carl Lee." And so I'm sitting there 8 years old, "Free Carl Lee, free Carl Lee."
No, wait a minute. You watched this movie when you were 8 years old?
I did. I was like, we're millennials. Our parents raised us different.
Absolutely.
And but it was still, and it was just the historical aspect too of the movie. Not only just the trauma that happened within it, but what was going on in Mississippi, what was going on in the South, and things that we still see today that are relevant. Just individuals not receiving a fair trial due to either socioeconomic status, racial background, makeup. And I wanted to be a lawyer to make sure people received fair representation, no matter what side I was on. Whether prosecution, defense, it's the law. We need to make sure it's fair across the board. Another one of my favorite movies was Malcolm X. I really, really loved the movie Malcolm X, not only because of the type of civil rights leader he was, but learning his background and where he came from, the humble beginnings, seeing his father being murdered and what that did to his mom and the trauma that happened in his life. And there's a particular scene in the movie where he tells his teacher, "I want to be a lawyer." And his teacher tells him, "That's not a realistic goal for a nigger. Why don't you be a carpenter? Jesus was a carpenter. If it was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for you." But just at that tender age, how dreams and visions can be killed in a moment because of cultural indoctrination. So him being told you're not good enough, and seeing that stuck with me. And so there's always been something in the back of my head that, it sounds cliche, but you can be whatever you want to be. And if that's what I want to do, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to fully succeed at it. So
you are well on your way.
Thank you. Thank you. Still so much work to be done.
Absolutely. So it's kind of speaking of just Black history and some of those historical figures. So I know, we know what inspired you to become a lawyer. But what about just when we're thinking about Black History Month, and folks who have made history? Are there any folks that kind of stick out to you who have made an impact and you admire them or have always kind of looked up to?
Sure, certainly. There are so many people that have been in my life that may not be, your everyday, what you know to be your Black history makers. There's the teachers, the professors that you had that maybe have held your hand and given you that extra push. But I know currently in my office right now, I have a picture. We can't see it right now, but I have a picture of Ruby Bridges and Kamala Harris. But specifically, Ruby Bridges, at her very tender age, 6 years old, integrating the school in New Orleans where there was segregation. And just the audacity that she had, that bold willingness at 6 to say, I'm going to go to the school every day, even though people are going to yell at me, they're going to yell racial slurs, they're going to spit at me. How intimidating that must have been for her. And so in any moment where I'm feeling discouraged or I can't do this, it's too hard, I want to give up, because I face adversity. I think we probably both have.
Absolutely.
I've been in spaces where I'm the only African American and you still have to show up and be your full self. And nobody really knows what that does to you as a person. And so I keep this photo of Ruby Bridges. My brother actually got it for me. And I'm just like, if she could do it, if she can stand in the face of fear, me as an adult, I can do that and more. So extremely significant, Ruby Bridges. And I also love Carter G. Woodson. I have one of his favorite books, or one of my favorite books that he wrote here, The Miseducation of the Negro. Carter G. Woodson, how appropriate. He started Negro History Week, which eventually led to Black History Month. Second African American to get his PhD from Harvard after W.E.B. Du Bois. And I think he's just a profound writer, journalist, and his work is very significant. He talks about in his book how we should be more autodidactic and self-taught individuals and break down these cultural indoctrinations. There's a quote that he states, if you can control a man's thinking, then you don't have to worry about his actions. And it's like, that's so deep on so many different levels. Because if you're trained to think you can't enter the front door, you're gonna always go to the back. And I don't ever have to worry about you trying to get in the front door, because I've controlled your mind so much that you're gonna go to the back door. And if it's not a back door, you're gonna make a hole in the wall so you can still go through the back. You would never think to go in the front. And so we have to break that mindset. And it starts with our kids, it starts with our children. And I just wanna always be able to pass that down, to pass down that passion, that break these cycles of thinking that you are only made for this and can only do that. Go through the front door.
Right. So I know among the number of ways that you're giving back, you've been giving your time to the Upperbound program. So tell me a little bit about Upperbound and your involvement with Upperbound and why it's so important to you.
Upperbound is an amazing program. I feel like I owe my entire career to Upperbound. Upperbound is a program, and it's geared towards first-generation college students, and it exposes them to college classes, college curriculum, the idea of how college works and being, independent, self-studying, and having to be responsible. I joined the Upperbound program summer of my 9th grade year when I was, 15 years old. And Upperbound took us on college tours, HBCU tours. I didn't know what a HBCU was before Upperbound, which is a historically black college or university. And I went to Grambling. Shout out to the Grambling Tigers. But they took us on college tours. They exposed us, you know, inner city kids, traveling, getting on buses, going to, you know, Georgia, Alabama, Maryland, North Virginia, or North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, all these schools, Florida, just to see that there are campuses full of people that look just like us that we wouldn't have seen. And so I've been with that program since I was 15 years old, and I just feel like it's my job or my duty and responsibility to give back. So I do teach a course called Criminal Theories. I wrote the course, came up with the curriculum for it to teach law, basically to teach law to high school kids. A lot of times they don't have exposure to the law unless someone in their family or maybe them themselves were in trouble. There's a negative connotation with the justice system. And so to get in front of that, before we get to the negative, let's get in front of it and let's talk about the positive of the system. Maybe you can work in the criminal justice system and you can be that lawyer that fights for people's rights, but the law is here to protect us all. A lot of times you don't know what you don't know, but if they're exposed to it, it opens up just another subset of learning and abilities.
So tell me how you deliver the material in the classroom.
Okay. Our class, I kind of do it like a college course. I write a hypothetical. It's a long hypothetical, but it's great relatable facts. You know, it's stuff that we would see in our everyday lives that we saw growing up in the inner city. You know, you have a friend that may be a star athlete, but he still has friends or she has friends that are connected maybe to gangs or people that live unsavory lifestyles, but we grew up together. These are my friends,
right.
You know, and maybe I need a ride to the store. So my friend gives me a ride to the store, but I don't know that my friend has a gun in the car. They have drugs in the car, that this car is actually stolen. I thought maybe they just brought it. And so sometimes you get caught up in situations, and this is how I make my hypotheticals, because they are very relatable in real life situations. And maybe the police stop you and your friends, now everybody's charged. And so the way we talk about the materials, well, what would the charges be? If this happened, what can this person be charged with? Now, is it just one person getting charged, or is everybody responsible? You know, we have conversations about culpability. What does culpability mean? Because it's like, oh no, that's not my gun, I didn't do it, but you were there, you know?
Right.
Could you perceive to be being a lookout? Just all real life scenarios that a lot of our students and kids from the inner city face. And when you break it down like that, and they see someone that can teach them and educate them, and that looks like them and have lived that same lifestyle, it's received. And it can be broken down the way that they understand it. And we just have discussions. How would you defend that person if you were a defense attorney? If you were the prosecutor, what would you charge them with? So they get the full scope of what the law is and how it works.
Okay. Now, if you were to have it your way, and every kid that made it through criminal theory got 100% of you, what would you wish for them, right? What are you hoping they glean from your class, and what are you hoping they take with them throughout the rest of their lives?
Definitely critical thinking skills, number one. My hope is that you say, I want to be a lawyer.
Sure.
I want to be a lawyer, Miss Lawson. I want to be just like you. I want to enter the field of criminal justice, because I want them to become lawyers. Obviously, I want to mold their minds, because representation matters. In a quote, me and my husband had discussions all the time about me being a prosecutor versus a defense attorney. And he would say that if you're not in the game, how are you ever going to play? You can't play unless you're in the game. And so it goes to that old saying, you're gonna be part of the problem or part of the solution.
Right.
And so I want my students to be in the game. I want young people I talk to be in the game. I need you to play. I need you to go to school. I need you to get your degree. I want you to be my starter. Right. So you can come back and say, look at me, coach. You know, look what I did. But even if it's not law, you know, it's something where you are utilizing your God-given talent to better society, whatever you choose to do. But do not let your talents go to waste. Don't let your mind go to waste. And use whatever you have to help somebody else. That's ultimately, what the goal is.
I want to thank you, Khalilah, for being that spark.
Of course.
Continuing to ignite change.
Thank you.
Continue to make history, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it as well. I am very excited about the future. I'm excited about what the future holds. I'm very young still in my career, in my practice, and just have made it this far as a magistrate for the Cleveland Municipal Court. It's just it's a blessing. It's an extreme blessing, and I know that there is so much more in store, and I'm ready to accept it all, and looking forward to it. Absolutely. Well, listen, if there's ever big news, I know some guys with cameras and stuff, so we might have to come down and check you out.
All right, and you guys are always welcome with open arms, so I'm gonna hold you to it.
There you go. We'll be back. All right. Khalilah Lawson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nobody will do that. So good to see you.
Good to see
Because
you
in every city, in every case, in every courtroom, and in every heart, the story continues.
Black History Makers.